shocked at me. Okay, so I made a video yesterday saying that it's kind of weird if you are a social worker and mega at the same time. You are consuming my content and then are pissed and shocked at me for saying that I think it would be weird for a social worker to be mega. And then you're shocked. And then you're shocked. And so if you're a mega social worker, feel free to block me. I don't care, like, how disappointed they are in me that I'm handling the situation in, like, condescending ways or that I'm being immature or snotty. You were the one doing that to me. This video earlier today saying that social workers who are mega should probably, like, not be social workers, which to me is just a common sense take. It's not even a hot take, but of course, I knew somebody would be mad about it. So the second part here, I did not know you don't consult two therapists who are politically different. I never said that! I never said that!
Good morning. Hi. This is a response to a lot of the comments that I got on the video I posted about MAGA therapists and how being a MAGA therapist is unethical. Now,
why toxic mothers-in-law will mistreat their daughters-in-law.
One thing I will not understand about a narcissistic mother.
One way that emotionally immature parents try to control their adult children,
or that they're destined to become a narcissist themselves, and this
misunderstanding it is to think that people go no contact with their parents to punish their parents, when really they walk away from family as a last resort.
Trying to heal from the toxic family.
The estranged parents whose children want no contact are the same energy and the same type of people who are still supporting this administration. And
in honor of it being almost 1 year since I went no contact with almost my entire family.
So when I was a little girl, I planned my mother's death over and over and over and over and over again. You get the picture?
My generation, and I would say a little bit of millennials generations, are the first generations that have stood firmly on the no contact thing with our parents. That when our parents get older, which is Gen X, because it's coming, when Gen X start hitting that nursing home age, I feel like because so many of us had basically cut ties with these people and abandoned them where they're standing, for us to actually have to care for these people. And I'm gonna just go ahead and put this shit out here. I ain't gonna say what I'd rather do, because I'd be motherfucking damned if they think for a second my black ass is gonna take care of people. I cut them bitches off for a fucking reason.
I made the cut. Did you see that? So, well, let me play it for you again.
So when I was a little girl, I planned my mother's death over and over and over and over and over again. You get the picture?
So if you would, in the comment section, just off of the top of your head, from that little snippet, what would you think of me? What would you think of my situation? Would you just think I was a horrible child who wished her mother dead? This is an estranged parent who has a platform where she's taking all sorts of snippets of a bunch of our videos and using it for her own narrative. And I say her because I'm pretty sure it's a female, based on what somebody told me, but I'm not sure exactly who it is. And it might be a guy. I don't know. Doesn't matter. It's irrelevant. Gender is irrelevant here. What's relevant is how this person accuses therapists and people who are adult estranged children of being manipulative when they themselves are the ones who are using our contents to make us look like we're the problem. So before I go on, let me play for you the entire video where this snippet was taken from. Ooh.
So when I was a little girl, I planned my mother's death over and over and over and over and over again. You get the picture? All the time. After a day of abuse, after whatever the incident was, when I would go to sleep at night, that's where my dreams would go, like as I was falling asleep. How horrific is that, by the way? That a little girl wants her mother dead just so the pain will stop. That was me getting my revenge in the moment. And when I became an adult and I was able to go no contact with her and I was able to stop the abuse, I didn't have that need for revenge because she was out of my life. That's not the same thing as wanting justice. I still want justice. I'll want justice until the day I die. Am I focused on it, obsessed with it? Absolutely not. But I never really had those kinds of feelings. I think maybe because I was too busy holding myself responsible for what she did to me. And by the time I figured out that it wasn't my fault, I was relieved. And I was angry at her for what she took from me and for what she did to me. But it just wasn't in my wiring at that point in time to wish her ill. But that being said, if she fell off a cliff tomorrow, I wouldn't be too disappointed.
You see how different that video is from what this manipulative, estranged parent is trying to paint it as. It's right there in film. Oh, I hadn't watched that video in a really long time. And so I want to talk about it. It's bringing back like so many memories of desperation and sadness. And it makes me so sad for little Marnie and what she was going through. I have such a deep connection to the little girl that was violated by her mother so much. She would fall asleep wishing she was dead, thinking of the ways that she died. Like I remember like kind of, you know, when you're in that place where you're dreaming but fully awake kind of thing, for lack of a better way to put it, because I don't really remember my dreams, but I guess the better thing to call it would be a fantasy. And I couldn't see a world where I could escape her, where she wouldn't be able to get her clutches onto me. So seeing a world where she died meant that she could never come back. And I know that that's the way that rolled out. I mean, this is a woman who would terrorize me during the day in so many different ways. And then at night make me come in like a dutiful little piece of property to tell her, I love you, mommy. Good night. Those are the words I had to use. Kiss her on the cheek after she put this cream on that she knew like it was gross. And if I didn't do it just right, she would make me repeat that. And then I would go to bed after that. So it could have been a day where she put me in a scalding hot bath, or she told me that she's going to send me to a psych ward because everybody knows I'm crazy and damaged goods. It could have been after a day where she sent me to a child Emmer, telling me she knew what I was doing and making me go back to him. It could have been a day where she destroyed my closet and threw everything all over my room and screamed and yelled at me and told me all the awful things that I am. It could have been a day where she actually did the grooming and then the gut punch of taking me to eat a chocolate cake, and I would be experiencing a moment of joy with her only for her to go, you're fat, and put me on a diet. I'm 10. It could have been a day of any number of things, like so many things it could have been a day where she chopped off all my hair. I still had to do the very same thing. And every day was a could have been a day. Every single day in my mother's household was a day where something happened if she was there. And if she wasn't there, she might use somebody else to make it happen. I went to summer camp and she sent me, well, here it is. She sent me this, well, actually, I don't need to lean over. Sorry, I'm like in TT mode right now, where she sent me this postcard for everybody to read all the things about me. Doesn't even address me by name. This is a few months after the only father I had ever known died. I'm going to leave camp and go to a house that I've never lived in with a man I've never met who's my new stepfather. But I shouldn't have wished her dead. No. And because I did, that makes me a bad person. That's why I am estranged from my mother, because look what a vile child I was. That's what this person is painting in the video that they're using. And I haven't watched the other expansions of the snippets she took from all of these other creators to get context. She is slowly posting them. And she's posting them to meet her narrative. So, you know, I don't know that I'm even going to bother to go into those, because I think the fact that she did this to me proves enough of what she did. And I'm not tagging her. I'm not going after her. I could give a toss. She's meaningless to me. What I'm really wanting to do here is show people out in internet land and social media platform land that, you know, when you see somebody else taking a piece of somebody's video and you don't have the critical thinking to go, well, why would they say that? You might want to figure that out. You might want to look a little bit deeper and not take things that are snipped apart into context. personally, even when I do these videos on estranged parents, if I'm talking in between, where I pause and I give commentary because I don't want to lose track of something I want to address, at the end I play them because I'm not hiding anything and I'm not trying to push a narrative. And what I'm trying to do is create awareness around how these relationships break down and why they stay broken down. And this is why, what she did, this is why they stay broken down. Because as long as you're willing to alleviate the accountability off of the bigger person in the room who formed the relationship, nothing is going to change to repair that relationship. It isn't about pointing fingers and telling somebody that they're a piece of garbage. It's about helping people, particularly the parents who are emotionally immature. I'm not talking about parents like my mother's a sociopath and a narcissist. I'm not talking about parents who abuse their children by design, narcissistic abuse. I'm talking about the parents who are emotionally immature, who maybe pass down trauma, that sort of thing. Those parents get lost in the shuffle. And when they see stuff like this, they're like, yeah, I remember when my kid said this to me, but they're not looking back at the context of it because this is making them feel good in the moment and relieving them from any pain of taking accountability, because taking accountability is, for these types of parents, very difficult. I don't find taking accountability hard. I find knowing that I hurt somebody hard. I think there's a difference. So anyway, be careful of who you're attaching yourself to, of what content you are watching. Look for people who are where you want to be, whatever that looks like. And that includes people who are therapists. That includes people who are healers or coaches or whatever it is. Look at the content with a critical eye. Look for what resonates with you, but also look at, okay, do they align with me? Are they trauma informed? Is this in some way toxic spirituality that's going to further make me carry the burden of something that isn't mine to carry because I was a child? Look at who you're attaching to, no matter where you are in your healing journey, because it's important to your healing, and you owe it to yourself to be very careful about the messaging that you're attaching to, and making sure that also you have the self-compassion to understand that you were a child, and in no world are you able to be at fault, nor were you at fault. And as adults, yes, there's a turning point where we have to take accountability for our own empowerment for our life decisions. Taking accountability for our life is not the same thing as taking responsibility for someone who hurt us, who gave us, like, I have complex PTSD and set us out in the world at a disadvantage. Accountability and responsibility for something that was done to you are not the same thing. And I say this also because I see really good therapists out there, in my opinion, people who are trauma informed, who are really well-researched. Dr. Marnie, one of my favorites of all time, who are very knowledgeable about narcissistic abuse and estrangements and things like that. And then I see people out there who will feature a self-aware narcissist on their platform and practically drink their bathwater, not understanding that you're bringing basically an abuser into a healing space. And they're kind of making light, they're making light of the things that they've done to other people, making it humorous and being charismatic around the pain that they caused somebody else to teach you why they did it. And anyone who does that is not a healer, is clueless, in my opinion. I'm not the end all be all. I could be wrong, right? Many times I am wrong. However, in this, I'll die on the hill. If I was having a group for SA survivors, I'm not going to bring in a rapist and ask them why they did it. There are some things that there's simply no answer for. You know, there's some things in this world, like child abuse, that don't make sense. Therefore, you can't find an answer behind it to make sense, because it does end up boiling down to choice. People who violate other people tend to do it in the dark and clean up their mess afterwards so they don't get caught, which means they know right from wrong, which means they know what they're doing isn't right. And that's never going to be able to be excused away because somebody has a personality disorder. For whatever reason, that's what they enjoy doing. And there's no answer to the question why that is ever going to give somebody closure in a real sense, in my opinion. I stopped asking why a long time ago, and stopping asking why allowed me to accept that I was unlucky enough to be born into a group of relatives who are human garbage. And what I accept is that I can't change what they did to me. I can't change what I lost, and I can change every single day of my life for the better, because I'm an adult now and they can't touch me. And so while I'm not wishing them dead, I do search for my mother's obituary. That's more about another layer of closure. And it's also about me writing my own if I choose to do that at the time, because things that they wrote about my grandparents were untrue, and I'm not going to let that fly again. So anyway, what do you think about this? What do you think about how bold, how blatantly this person used content that's trackable? Like, are you stupid? Like, to push their own narrative while simultaneously accusing us of pushing a narrative. And also, you know, as a little side note, this person is hiding behind a screen with like, what do you call those images? A cartoon, an avatar. Come on. If you're going to stand up here and make these concrete statements using other people's content, have the guts to show your face. And maybe I will tag this person. Maybe I'll put this one over on that platform and challenge them and see if they do it. I don't really care. I'm not about that. It's just, I will put this on that platform because they've used my image to do something with that. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. I don't tag them though. I don't, and they might be following me now that I think about it. I don't tag them. I'm not interested in sending flying monkeys and bullies their way to harass them or anything like that. That's not what I'm about, and that's not what this space is for. So all that to be said, thank you so much for being here. And just as a little side note, there is a membership portion to my YouTube channel now. I do some extra healing tips in there and some videos that are more tailored to answering direct questions and things like that. So if you are looking for an extra layer of connection and healing, I think on every video it gives you an option to join. You can subscribe to my channel that way as well. If not, I'm still providing it here as I always have. It's just that having a membership area allows me to interact a little bit more closely. I do prioritize the comments from the membership platform, and somebody's going to go, oh, well, what's the difference between you and them? You're making money. I spend thousands of hours making free content, and I am also making a living. And so, yes, the membership part for $3 a month or whatever it is a way that you can support me so that I can spend time supporting you. Thanks so much for being here, and I'll see you soon. The whole video, it will be at the end again, both of them. The real one and that one, in case you kind of want to break it down. All right, thanks. See you soon.
Shocked at me. Okay, so I made a video yesterday saying that it's kind of weird if you are a social worker and mega at the same time. You are consuming my content and then are pissed and shocked at me for saying that I think it would be weird for a social worker to be mega. And then you're shocked. And then you're shocked. And so if you're a mega social worker, feel free to block me. I don't care, like, how disappointed they are in me that I'm handling the situation in, like, condescending ways or that I'm being immature or snotty. You were the one doing that to me. There's a video earlier today saying that social workers who are mega should probably, like, not be social workers, which to me is just a common sense take. It's not even a hot take, but of course, I knew somebody would be mad about it. So the second part here, I did not know you don't consult two therapists who are politically different. I never said that! I never said that!
Good morning. Hi. This is a response to a lot of the comments that I got on the video I posted about MAGA therapists and how being a MAGA therapist is unethical. Now,
why toxic mothers-in-law will mistreat their daughters-in-law.
One thing I would not understand about a narcissistic mother.
One way that emotionally immature parents try to control their adult children,
or that they're destined to become a narcissist themselves, and this
misunderstanding it is to think that people go no contact with their parents to punish their parents when really they walk away from family as a last resort.
Is trying to heal from the toxic family.
The estranged parents whose children want no contact are the same energy and the same type of people who are still supporting this administration. And
in honor of it being almost 1 year since I went no contact with almost my entire family.
So when I was a little girl, I planned my mother's death over and over and over and over and over again. You get the picture?
My generation, and I would say a little bit of millennials generations, are the first generations that have stood firmly on the no contact thing with our parents. That when our parents get older, which is Gen X, because it's coming, when Gen X start hitting that nursing home age, I feel like because so many of us had basically cut ties with these people and abandoned them where they're standing, for us to actually have to care for these people. And I'm gonna just go ahead and put this shit out here. I ain't gonna say what I'd rather do, because I'd be motherfucking damned if they think for a second my black ass is gonna take care of people. I cut them bitches off for a fucking reason.
Okay, so I made a video yesterday.
So when I was a little girl, I planned my mother's death over and over and over and over and over again. You get the picture? All the time. After a day of abuse, after whatever the incident was, when I would go to sleep at night, that's where my dreams would go, like as I was falling asleep. How horrific is that, by the way? That a little girl wants her mother dead just so the pain will stop. That was me getting my revenge in the moment. And when I became an adult and I was able to go no contact with her and I was able to stop the abuse, I didn't have that need for revenge because she was out of my life. That's not the same thing as wanting justice. I still want justice. I'll want justice until the day I die. Am I focused on it, obsessed with it? Absolutely not. But I never really had those kinds of feelings. I think maybe because I was too busy holding myself responsible for what she did to me. And by the time I figured out that it wasn't my fault, I was relieved. And I was angry at her for what she took from me and for what she did to me. But it just wasn't in my wiring at that point in time to wish her ill. But that being said, if she fell off a cliff tomorrow, I wouldn't be too disappointed.